And hello, race fans, and welcome here to the Anderson Speedway, where tonight we're beginning our second half of the season. It is race number 4. And my, oh my, we had ourselves a good week to kind of recuperate and recover, and we are getting ready to get back at it for our second and final stretch for the 2026 WRLA Hoosier Summer Tour. It has actually been a pretty calm, cool, and collected sort of season until we got to Dells Raceway Park just 2 weeks ago, where we would have seen, almost, by the way, saw for the third race in a row, a driver that was so dominant they ended up going to victory lane in the process, but that was not the case. It was Max Anderson that actually was pretty quiet for the most part. He went on to take the checkered flag. He wound up in the right place at the right time, and definitely was there to capture the third race of the year for the inaugural season of the Hoosier Summer Tour. And now we're getting ready for our fourth race of the season. I don't even know what else to really say, ladies and gentlemen, but we're kicking off some pretty exciting things happening here in the state of Indiana. We're starting off here with the Hoosier Summer Tour. That again, tomorrow night, the Menards Truck Series drivers will be at the Indianapolis Raceway Park. And then Friday and Saturday, we'll see Xfinity and NOS Energy Cup Series racing. It is definitely going to be an absolutely fantastic night and fantastic week here at the Anderson Speedway, or at least here in the state of Indiana, kicking off here at the Anderson Speedway for WRLA festivities. Let's go ahead and review your point standings coming into this race. Val Moscow still holds on to that points lead. Just 12 points back is Carson Miller. At least I don't believe the points actually were updated. Well, shoot. The points were not updated. At least I don't think so. So that's actually rather unfortunate. I was so very ill prepared, and I do want to apologize for that. I genuinely thought that I did the Hoosier Summer Tour points, but I did not. So you'll see those after we'll basically see the outcome of what happened in both Dells Raceway Park and Anderson Speedway. Basically, the points after both of those races, kind of rolling into the next race we go to, which will be Stafford Motor Speedway. So that is a big error on my part. I was very ill prepared, and I do want to apologize for that in advance. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, again, I do genuinely apologize for that. That was a big oops on my part, but the points will be updated after Anderson Speedway here tonight. Let's go ahead and review your starting lineup coming into this race. Wyatt Walker is going to be starting on the pole position. Claire Phillips will be lining up alongside. In the second row will be Nathan Stapleton and Travis Crampton. Terry Walker and the highest starting Truck Series driver, Emmanuel Hartnett, in row number 3. How about that? The top 5 spots all occupied by NOS Energy Cup Series regulars. We'll see them this Saturday night at Indianapolis for the Brickyard. In row number 4, we have Max Anderson and our highest starting Xfinity Series driver, Sarah Taylor, Joshua Neely, and Eric Blaze. They complete your top 10. Then you have Carson Miller, BB Hange, Val Moscow, Ryan Kendall, Eli Bright, Russell Blaze, Alexander Rowe, Bryce Egan, Ajax Fitzgerald, Tyler Ferris complete your top 20. And then you have Bruno Diacomo and Kenny Stremme. They basically complete and round out your 22 car field here for tonight. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there really is not much else for me to say here, but lots of things that we're debuting. Of course, the brand new ticker, and saw a lot of other people like Alex and Nathan Stapleton using this, and you know what? We're giving it a shot as well, and it's definitely going to be a very fun one here at the Anderson Speedway for the WRLA Hoosier Summer Tour. It's time to get the second half of the season underway. The drivers are strapped into the cars. Pre-race ceremonies are just now starting to wrap up, but in order to get these 22 behemoths rolling on the track, we got to get the command to fire the engines. So let's go trackside and get just that.
Drivers, start your engines!
Engines are fired, pace cars rolling off, and so will these 22 competitors, and they will waste no time at all. Getting down to action here at the Anderson Speedway. Pace car going to be making that left-hand turn into the pit lane, and Wyatt Walker and Claire Phillips, they're going to lead the field to the green flag and will be racing here at Anderson. And Wyatt Walker is going to lead the first lap of action here tonight. Nathan Stapleton, the hometown hero, coming into this week. He is running in the second position and almost makes contact there with Terry Walker as he's still trapped on the outside line. Walker now moves up into second, and father and son are at the front of the field, 1-2 as of right now. So Stapleton now falls back to third. Here comes Joshua Neely to the inside for the fourth position. Max Anderson, our winner from Dells Raceway Park, now finds himself trapped on the outside line. Travis Crampton in the 55 has now made his way down to the bottom. Going to take that seventh position away from Claire Phillips. Now going to try to go after Max Anderson for sixth. If you do notice that the numbers on the ticker are kind of just glitching out every so often, do want to apologize for that. We'll hopefully be able to get that fixed by the time that we go to Stafford Motor Speedway. Heading back into turn number 3, off of turn 4 now. Wyatt Walker is still leading the charge. One car on pit road, and that is Eric Blaze in the 33. Looks like he might have had a little bit of contact on the passenger side of his car, so that's probably what caused him to make that turn onto pit road, but we stay green. And actually, there's a crash. Actually, wait a minute. Was there a crash? There was. Ryan Kendall in the 00. Heavy rear end damage to his car. We'll take a look at that we'll take a look at that at race end. But 11 laps will be complete this time by Wyatt Walker. And actually, there is a caution. That's for Val Moscow, and Nathan Stapleton just hit him. Oh, no. Stapleton just hit Val Moscow. And oh, my goodness gracious. You have got to be kidding me. Nathan Stapleton, just as the first caution came out, Stapleton tried to avoid the one of Moscow, who was sitting in the middle of turn 4. Unfortunately, he had nowhere to go. And this is just going to be absolutely costly for Nathan Stapleton, as they're going to go to work on assessing the damage on his race machine before they send him back out. But Nathan Stapleton, who was the hometown favorite coming in, unfortunately, not going to get this week started off right for WRLA festivities. But the Walkers, father and son, they definitely are. Is Wyatt leading the charge? His dad, Terry, currently running in second. Carson Miller, third. Travis Crampton moves up into the fourth position. And Alexander Rowe, actually, that's Travis Crampton completing your top 5 with Neely in fourth. But Alexander Rowe, currently with the fastest lap of the race, and as we take a look here, an 11:5:35, so not too bad there for the 43 of Alexander Rowe. And definitely a very amazing addition that we currently have with this ticker. And again, a big shout out to the developer of the ticker, and I do apologize if I'm really blanking on the name. We'll definitely get that to you once we go racing tomorrow night for the Menards Truck Series at IRP. Pace car is in. Eric Blaze, Nathan Stapleton line up on the inside. Green flag back in the air. And Wyatt Walker looking to try to pick right back up where he left off, trying to dominate this race with now 17 laps complete this time by Eric Blaze and Nathan Stapleton, both trying to get at least one of their laps back. As you saw, Eric Blaze is 2 laps down. He now got one of his laps back. Nathan Stapleton trying to get back on the lead lap. But you also have Carson Miller in the 71, who's looking to try to make a charge. He gets by Terry Walker, as does Travis Crampton. And now here comes Carson Miller to try to duke it out for the lead with Wyatt Walker. Carson Miller looking to try to add a second win to the season. He already has one at a shortened Galesburg Speedway race just on the 4th of July. My, oh my. The Walker loses out on the lead to Carson Miller, and Ryan Kendall looks like he's got even more damage than what he had at the beginning of the race, and now he is falling out. So now add the 00 of Kendall to the retirees list. Tough break for Ryan Kendall. But Carson Miller still leading the way with now an 1/8 of the way through our 4th race of the season for the WRLA Hoosier Summer Tour, kicking off our festivities here in the state of Indiana. We had the Menards Truck Series at the Brickyard for the Indiana Bash just a couple of months ago, but they will be back here in Indiana tomorrow night with the Xfinity and Cup Series at the Brickyard. Trucks are at IRP. I've definitely said that a lot here, but we're just excited to get racing here underway here in the state of Indiana for the WRLA side of things. Nathan Stapleton, remember, he is 1 lap down so far, the only car 1 lap down. And at this rate, I think Stapleton is just going to be hoping and praying for another caution to come out, so that way he does not wound up losing a lap, or at least losing the opportunity to start on the front row, so that way he can get back on the lead lap. Eric Blaze in that 33. He is still well out front of our race leader, Carson Miller, who's got a 1-second advantage on Wyatt Walker. They head back down through turn number 4. And how about this? Bruno Diacomo in the 77 has now moved his way into the 4th position. He definitely got himself a pretty good restart not too long ago, and now moves himself inside of the top 5. Joshua Neely having himself a good run. And now another thing to point out here, as the Xfinity Series will be back at the Brickyard. You know, Russell Blaze, we had a few conversations with him off air about, you know, what his plans would be for Joshua Neely after he not only did Blaze feel like that he didn't get a fair shot at a top 10 at Mosport, and understandably so. He did finish 13th though, but after he DNQ'd at Nashville last weekend, you know, Blaze had definitely said that Neely is going to be staying in the car until he races a cup race, and who knows, we might see him make his 2nd cup start in Indianapolis, and who knows how that might go. So definitely keeping our fingers crossed for Joshua Neely, as he's going to have himself a very, very busy schedule if he winds up making the cup race on Saturday. But right now here in this event, he's currently riding in the 3rd position, and here we go. Carson Miller has approached the tail end of the field. He now has Alexander Rowe in the 43 just ahead of him. Also up there again is Eric Blaze, who just got by the 43 of Rowe just to stay out ahead of him. Now Stapleton at this rate, he is praying for a caution to come out, so that way he does not become the 2nd car 1 lap down. But he's also getting past. Actually, I wonder if Stapleton did, actually, no, he is still shown 1 lap down. Rowe currently is on the tail end of the lead lap. As far as from what I'm seeing, I might have to refresh the ticker just to be on the safe side. Joshua Neely, change of hands for the runner-up spot. Neely moves up to 2nd. I have to refresh it one more time. And just to be on the safe side here, folks, there's Neely. Now he moves up into second officially, and now he's got a gun for the lead on Carson Miller heading into turn 3. So new race leader, it's Joshua Neely in the number 8. Fantastic stuff that we're seeing here at Anderson Speedway as Neely gets by Rowe, and that will trap the 43 one lap down. So Stapleton is now in danger of going 2 laps down, as is the 33 of Eric Blaze, which that just happened right there. Meanwhile, further in the back, you also have Tyler Ferris looking to try to get 2 birds with 1 stone. He got by Terry Walker. Now he goes after Bruno Giacomo for the 4th position. And this number 2 is coming to life as now Ferris sets his sights on Wyatt Walker. 1/4 of the way done. Next time by here at the Anderson Speedway. For those that are just now tuning in, Joshua Neely just managed to take the race lead away from Carson Miller in the number 71. And now you have the 71 of Miller trying to get back down to the inside of Joshua Neely. He's got the nose alongside the number 8, heading back down into turn number 1. And Miller is going to make that pass look easy as he gets by the 8 of Joshua Neely to take that top spot right on back. Take a look further in the back. You also have Wyatt Walker in the 19. He didn't fall too far out of the top 5, at least as far as this fight for the top spot goes, as Neely and Carson Miller continue to fight it out. This is also really good news for Nathan Stapleton, because now he can try to get out as far out ahead as he can to avoid going 2 laps down. Remember, Alexander Rowe's the first car 1 lap down. It doesn't even matter. There's not much of a free pass as you see Neely get right back around the 71 of Carson Miller. This now holds up. Let's hold the phone here on that 1 lap down conversation, because now Wyatt Walker's caught Carson Miller. Oh boy, the tire wear really starting to come into play. With 57 laps complete, Joshua Neely leading the charge. Now Walker kind of went a little bit higher through 1 and 2. That might allow Tyler Ferris to close right on in to try to make a pass going into turn 3. Well, Ferris kind of ran it a little bit wide, and let's have a look at this fight for the lead as Stapleton tries to stay out ahead of Neely and also Miller, who takes it way, way high through 3 and 4. He manages to stay out ahead of Wyatt Walker, and he'll retain that 2nd position. But Walker now running that middle line and almost hitting that outside wall. Now here comes Alexander Rowe. Remember, Rowe is a lap down. He's the first car 1 lap down, but that won't really matter too much, because when all the lead lap cars, or when all the lap cars line up on the inside line, they'll more than likely line up in the order that they crossed the start-finish line in. Either that or line up in the order that they are basically in the running order. Further in the back, Giacomo getting by Tyler Ferris for the 4th position. Terry Walker, he fell back to 6th, but still running inside of the top 10 in car number 20. Making a little bit of contact there with Eric Blaze as they head back through turn 2. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Joshua Neely. You also saw it on the ticker on the left-hand side of your screen. Neely takes the race lead back, and here comes Wyatt Walker to the inside to challenge for the 2nd position, heading through turn 2 down the back straightaway. Wyatt Walker started on the pole in this race, and he's trying to come back after falling outside of the top 3, or at least outside of the top 2 rather. Walker has been absolutely strong all night long so far in this race with 69 laps complete. Nice. And we have the Battle of the Bass Pro Shops cars with Neely and Walker now nose to tail as they head back into turn number 1. And there goes Walker. Making a run down to the inside, pulls up alongside of Neely. Goes about dead even on corner entry, but will drive right on by on corner exit. Walker takes the race lead back on lap number 73. He'll set his sights on Nathan Stapleton as now Miller and Neely duke it out for the second position. Just about 1 second back from this fight is Bruno Diacomo. So far, riding in that 4th position with Tyler Ferris in tow. Then you also have Terry Walker, as we touched on. He's currently running in 6th. Kenny Stremme currently running in the 7th position. And how about this? Max Anderson and Travis Crampton fighting it out. What looks to be for that 8th position. Crampton's going to take it. And how about this? Russell Blaze in the number 3 has entered the chat. He's inside of the top 10 and might be contested by the Emmanuel Hartnett in the number 7. Hartnett absolutely sent it in there going into turn 1, and he got it. So now move Hartnett up into 10th as his teammate Carson Miller just went right on by Wyatt Walker and made it look easy as we noticed that Walker was pretty much right up against the wall heading through turns 3 and 4. He must have taken a higher line, and it definitely might not have been the wisest decision on Walker's part. Closing in on the halfway mark here for race number 4 of the WRLA Hoosier Summer Tour here at the Anderson Speedway to begin our second half of our 6-race schedule. And Walker, that number 19, is going to cut down to the inside. He'll send it in going into turn number 3 and make that pass look easy coming off of turn number 4. So move Walker back up into the race lead. Carson Miller. Man, I thought he would have been trying to size him up for a crossover heading into the 3rd corner that time around. But I think Miller's going to have to wait it out before he can have another challenge for that top spot. Just up ahead of Nathan Stapleton, you have the number 24, that be Eli Bright, and also the 34 Bryce Egan, and our celebrity driver BB Hange in car number 99. All those contenders just straight ahead of Nathan Stapleton. And those are some good cars that Stapleton can try to get by if he has an opportunity. But he's also got to try to stay out ahead of the leader so that way he doesn't lose another lap. Carson Miller in that 71. He has come right back into the mix. Looking to try to challenge for the race lead yet again. Draws up to the back bumper. And here he goes as Walker runs the middle line. He might try to set it up going into turn number 1, and here comes Carson Miller. He's going to draw to the left rear quarter panel on Wyatt Walker. He'll send it into turn number 3 and get right on by the 19 machine of Wyatt Walker. Put Carson Miller back to the point. And Wyatt Walker, I thought he was going to try to set up for a crossover, but he just ran the middle line through turns 3 and 4, and that cost him dearly. Miller with the fastest lap of the race, 4:11.492. Wyatt Walker not too far off of the 71 machine. Let's take a look further in the back of the field as Crampton tries to get by Eric Blaze in the 33, while in efforts of trying to stay out ahead of Max Anderson in the number 38, who won last week or won just 2 weeks ago, rather, at Dells Raceway Park. But so far, doing a pretty nice job in what looks to be the 8th position. Hartnett trying to get by, or at least running in the 9th position. They're going to try to steal that 8th spot away from Max Anderson, and looks like we have another battle that might be shaping up here. This is back in the 9th or 10th position. It's Russell Blaze in the number 3. Kenny Stremme in the 16. Stremme right now running in 10th, and Russell Blaze currently running just outside in the 11th position. We focus back up here on this front battle. Halfway through this 200 lapper here at the Anderson Speedway, and Carson Miller continues to lead it. Running in 2nd is Wyatt Walker. Joshua Neely runs 3rd. In 4th is Bruno Diacomo. Tyler Ferris rounds out your top 5. Then you have Terry Walker running in 6th. Then in 7th is Travis Crampton. Emmanuel Hartnett runs 8th. Max Anderson runs 9th, and Russell Blaze just took over the 10th position. Meanwhile, change of hands for position number 5 as Terry Walker goes right on by Tyler Ferris, as up front, Alexander Rowe gonna get lapped here, or at least gonna get lapped again. Alexander Rowe looking to try to get back on the lead lap. At least he's trying to do everything he can to get back on the lead lap, but he's going to get put up around the outside, or almost did there, by Wyatt Walker. It's a little bit higher through turns 1 and 2. And he just runs that high line going through 3 and 4, losing a lot of time to Carson Miller. Diacomo gets by for 3rd. And Terry Walker, his car now starting to come to life here, as he's trying to make a bid for that 4th position. Tyler Ferris in the number 2. He's trying to get back after Terry Walker for that 5th position, as Walker is going to have his hands full with trying to get by Joshua Neely for that 4th position. Meanwhile, Wyatt Walker's also going to have his hands full, while the race leader's trying to deal with Alexander Rowe. Walker's just trying to do his best to hold off the 77 of Bruno Diacomo. Rowe unlaps himself in that 18th position. Now he's going to try to set his sights on Nathan Stapleton, who's still trying to stay ahead of the race leader and not go 2 laps down. But Miller just trying to get around this traffic of the 43 of Alexander Rowe, puts him a lap down again. And that just may allow the 19 of Wyatt Walker to reel in Carson Miller just a little bit more, but he's also got to be aware of Bruno Diacomo behind him. Diacomo has had a better car in the long run, so he could still potentially make something happen. And how about this? Hartnett up to 8th position. Now looking to go after Terry Walker for 7th. With now 82 coming to 81 laps to go here at the Anderson Speedway. There's Sarah Taylor, car number 29, the left side of her Mobil 1 machine, definitely pretty beat up. but still racing pretty hard. The Sundrop cars are now going at it. Ajax Fitzgerald in the 88 to the inside of Russell Blaze. I believe that would be for the 14th position. We'll see it right here once the ticker cycles back around, and that was for 13th. Wyatt Walker saw it on the ticker, and you see it right here. Walker completes the pass and takes the lead back from the 71 of Carson Miller. Throughout every race thus far in the Hoosier Summer Tour, Wyatt Walker has finished inside of the top 10. And although that is pretty good on paper, the points are definitely kind of doing him in just a little bit. If he wants a run at this championship, he's definitely going to have to go out and start winning probably this race and maybe the next two, if Walker's going to have any sort of opportunity to insert his name into the championship conversation for the Hoosier Summer Tour. Although his Cup program is not going all that well right now, as far as for him personally, the Hoosier Summer Tour has definitely treated him pretty well with all those top 10s throughout this entire season thus far. And now he is contesting for a win as Carson Miller just drives right on by Wyatt Walker for the top position. "72 laps to go here at the Anderson Speedway. We've only had one caution so far throughout this entire event. That happened back on lap number 11, I want to say. So very early in this show, and we've been clean and green and racing ever since. We've had several crashes that involved Ryan Kendall, but Kendall has since then taken his car back behind the wall, as you see Wyatt Walker take the race lead right back from the 71 of Carson Miller, and Giacomo looks on from the 3rd position. Ferris shown in 4th, with Crampton running inside of the top 5 in car number 55. And caution is out. The yellow flag is out with 68 laps to go. And my, oh my, this is going to be pretty interesting. See what these final few laps are going to hold. And I haven't really seen the cause of the yellow flag, but we'll definitely look at it when this race concludes. But caution is out on lap 133. This is our 2nd caution of the night. And Wyatt Walker in the 19, he leads the charge with Carson Miller currently with the fastest lap of the race, still with that 11:492. Giacomo 3rd with the 2 of Tyler Ferris in 4th. Crampton completes your top 5 with Neely in 6th, Terry Walker in 7th, Max Anderson 8th, Claire Phillips in 9th, and Emmanuel Hartnett rounds out your top 10, coming to 64 laps to go, currently under caution for the 2nd time. And I would assume that it's for debris, because I haven't seen anybody try to drive away from an accident scene, or at least getting up to speed. I haven't seen that. But we'll know exactly what the caution for the 2nd yellow was for when we review the footage after the race. And ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, this week kicks off an amazing week of racing. We had the month of May, you know, obviously had the month of May's festivities. But this week, the WRLA kicks it off. Obviously, it kicks off. We're racing in Indiana this week, and it kicks off here with the Hoosier Summer Tour. The trucks will be at IRP tomorrow. Xfinity and Cup are at the Brickyard, and we're getting ready to wrap this one up. 62 laps to go. Green flag goes back in the air. Wyatt Walker leads it and is also trapped on the outside line with Rowe and Blaze and Stapleton, who are all at least 1 lap down or more. Rowe should be able to unlap himself here. Blaze should get 1 of his laps back, as Walker has now finally made his way down to the inside. And oh boy, things are starting to get pick up just a little bit more, as now Hartnett starting to come to life. He's trying to move up into the 6th position. And we have a lot going on here on the ticker. Lots of activity on the ticker as well as on the racetrack. Anderson getting by Bruno Giacomo for P5. Now trying to go after Travis Crampton for 4th. How about this? This is some good stuff that we're seeing on the restart here at the Anderson Speedway. And now trying to go after Tyler Ferris for the 3rd position. First, it started off with 1 car, and then Anderson tried to get 2 birds with 1 stone. Then it turned into 3 birds with 1 rock. Now it's 4 birds with a boulder. So Anderson moves up into 3rd. It would be something if Max Anderson won here at the Anderson Speedway and win back-to-back races in the Hoosier Summer Tour. And late in the going, he is definitely showing that his car has come to life. Carson Miller holding on to 2nd as but Wyatt Walker, he is out front by just 2 seconds over new runner-up Max Anderson. Man, he has just been absolutely fast since we restarted this race. Meanwhile, further in the back, you have Travis Crampton now contesting for the 3rd position as they head back down into turn 1. Crampton's going to take it. Sarah Taylor trying to get after Tyler Ferris. And Joshua Neely is right there. A little bit of contact there between the 29 and the 2 as they head back through turn 1. And Taylor is going to take that 7th position. The Beacon Academy Racing cars are going at it with Hartnett and Miller. Now Miller's starting to fall back like a rock. That number 71 is in trouble. Probably did not fire off on that restart, and he just went from 2nd down to 5th. Little bit of a tough break there for Carson Miller, but I do have faith that he should be able to rebound. Terry Walker in that number 20 has been hanging around inside of the top 10 all night long. I'm going to try to get his way back inside of the top 5 as Wyatt Walker, he has just opened up his lead to a 4-second lead. Pretty close to that over Max Anderson, who is now being challenged by Travis Crampton. So now Crampton moves up into the runner-up position. And this is a pretty sizable lead for Wyatt Walker. "43 laps to go as Walker catches the tail end of the field to try to put Max Anderson a lap down. Miller now being challenged by Terry Walker for the 5th position. Meanwhile, you have, how about this, Bryce Egan in the 34. Now starting to show some muscle late in the going, appearing inside of the top 10 for the first time tonight, as he takes that 8th position away from Joshua Neely. And Bruno Giacomo being challenged by Sarah Taylor. Also in the mix is Eli Bright in the 24 as he looks on this fight for 10th. Easily won there by Sarah Taylor. And here comes Eli Bright down to the inside to contest for that 11th position. Meanwhile, further in the back, Wyatt Walker has gotten around Alexander Rowe to put him a lap down. Now getting ready to set his sights on Kenny Shremy with 37 laps of racing to go from here at the Anderson Speedway. And Walker, again, still maintaining that 4-second lead, almost 5 seconds over Max Anderson. Got about that high a couple of times, according to that relative. But Wyatt Walker, he started on the pole in this race, and he had hung around inside of the top 5 all night long. He even fought for the lead a couple of times between himself and Carson Miller. They both duked it out for a little while. And Walker took the lead back just shy of the second caution of the night. And Walker had not looked back since the restart. And he had opened up that gap now over Travis Crampton by 3.5 seconds, now 4. As Crampton now pulls away from Max Anderson and tries to run away with that second spot. Emmanuel Hartnett and the number 7 has come to life, as now he runs to the inside. All right, almost did. I thought he was going to have a run to the inside of Max Anderson, but now he runs wide, heading through turns 3 and 4. And Crampton now starting to close the gap on Wyatt Walker. The gap is now down to 2 seconds. Now just under a second. Oh, well, now under 2 seconds, I meant to say. But Eric Blaze, I also want to add on, Eric Blaze did get around the 19 of Wyatt Walker. Less than 30 laps to go here at the Anderson Speedway. And Wyatt trying to open that gap back up to about at least a 3-second advantage. But he's still remaining as steady as can be. Very cool, calm, cool, and collected. He's not panicking too hard, even though the run is starting to fade. Max Anderson to the inside of Travis Crampton for the runner-up spot. Ferris now moves up to 4th underneath of Emmanuel Hartnett. Walker fades back to 6th in car number 20, that being Terry Walker. That gap is getting ever so smaller. At least every 5 to 10 laps around the Anderson Speedway. 22 laps to go. You know, this season as a driver for Wyatt Walker hasn't been all that great. Although he did score a victory earlier this year at the Auto Club Speedway, it just hasn't been the best of years here for Wyatt Walker. It's kind of been a similar scenario to what happened last year, where he'd start off the season hot, fall back a little bit, and then regain that momentum towards season's end. He did finally nab his first career victory in the NOS Energy Cup Series last November when the Coca-Cola 600 got pushed back to Veterans Day. So Walker, 2 wins under his belt in the NOS Energy Cup Series, but again, his season has just been kind of lackluster as a driver. As an owner, it has been absolutely spectacular. 3 wins in the Xfinity Series, 2 with Ray Atikian, 1 with Campbell Marsh. And then also on top of that, Abby Walker going to victory lane at the Michigan International Speedway. Of course, with Terry and CG Holt also picking up their performances and definitely picking up the pace and really starting to perform well, finishing inside of the top 10 in several races. And Wyatt is definitely, although he is happy to see those results, he's definitely frustrated as a driver, feeling like that he can definitely provide those results for his own team. So far in this race, he is showing that here tonight. Again, started on the pole. He probably and more than likely has led the most laps here tonight. 13 laps to go. He's opened up that gap over Travis Crampton by about 3 seconds once again. And Walker just hoping and praying that no other mistakes are made. Meanwhile, his father, Terry, now going to work on Tyler Ferris for that 4th position. And he's going to easily nab that. Heading back down into turn number 1. 10 fingers up in the air. 10 laps of racing to go for Wyatt Walker. Change of hands for the 2nd position as Max Anderson drives to the inside of Travis Crampton for that 3rd position. And Terry Walker in that number 20 starting to reel in third and fourth, or second and third right now. While his son Wyatt continues to show the way. We're going to try to put the 16 of Kenny Stremio lap down. He'll finally get to the inside, or at least I thought so, but Stremi managed to get a better run on corner exit. But Wyatt is going to have the drive in, going through turns 3 and 4. 5 laps to go here at the Anderson Speedway. Wyatt Walker, this season, in the inaugural season of the Hoosier Summer Tour, has finished inside of the top 10 in every single race. He's finished in the bottom half of the top 10, however. He finished 8th, 9th, and 10th, respectively. But now, with 3 laps to go, coming to 2 this time by, he is definitely, as long as nothing happens to Wyatt, he'll be well on his way to capturing the maximum amount of points that he can. White flag in the wind. 1 lap to go for Wyatt Walker. Making his way through turns 3 and 4, he will finally do it. Wyatt Walker wins here at Anderson Speedway. And fingers crossed, hopefully, this is the start of what could be a fantastic weekend for Wyatt Walker and his own team. He started first, he finishes first. Travis Crampton will come home in the 2nd position, followed by Max Anderson in 3rd, Terry Walker finishing in 4th. Tyler Ferris rounds out your top 5. Carson Miller with the fastest lap of the race. He finishes in the 6th position. Joshua Neely in 7th. Bryce Egan in 8th. Eli Bright in 9th. And Emmanuel Hartnett rounds out your top 10. You see the rest of your results there on the ticker. Everybody from 11th on down to 17th. They all finished on the lead lap. Correction, 16th. Rowe, Stremi, Stapleton, and Blaze all finished 1 lap down or more. And then the 2 retirees of Ryan Kendall and Val Moscow, they smelled, unfortunately, what the Rock was cooking. But what a showing here at the Anderson Speedway. Big congratulations to Wyatt Walker on winning here at the Anderson Speedway. And again, fingers crossed that hopefully this is the start of what could be the week that Wyatt Walker needs as far as momentum is concerned, hopefully to shift it right back into the direction that he wants to maybe try to get his 2nd win of the season this weekend at Indianapolis at the Brickyard for the NOS Energy Cup Series. And who knows? It very well could happen. And I want to thank you guys a lot for watching the race number 4 of the Hoosier Summer Tour. Next Saturday night, you will see these drivers take action at the Anderson Speedway, or not the Anderson Speedway. We already did that. We're going to the Stafford Motor Speedway next weekend. We'll be racing on a Saturday night, and hopefully you guys are able to tune in once we get to that point. Thank you guys so much for watching tonight's action from here at the Anderson Speedway. If you guys like this, be sure to hit the like button and be sure to consider subscribing in order to keep up with some fine content all posted all throughout the 2026 season. And one more time, congratulations to Wyatt Walker on the victory here at the Anderson Speedway. He will definitely have himself a very good points day and will more than likely insert himself into the championship conversation to becoming the first ever Hoosier Summer Tour champion. And that's actually a very good reminder here, as we're going to actually go back and take a look at what happened to cause our 2 cautions of the night. So that is actually a very good heads up by some of our producers in the ears. So thank you very much for that. I do appreciate that. But I almost forgot. Thank God, but we actually managed to catch that. So we're actually going to go ahead and put in the stuff, and we'll definitely get the accidents prepared, get the replays shown up, and again, this actually was a pretty good weekend, if I may say, for Wyatt Walker. And remember, he did start on the pole, and more than likely, he would have led the most laps here for tonight. Let's actually, first off, let's figure out what happened to Ryan Kendall in the 00. And from the looks of things, this wound up starting on lap number 8. So, as it happens, this is going through turns 3 and 4. Russell Blaze in the 3, all over the back bumper of Kendall. He dives to the inside. It kind of just rides on the left rear quarter panel of the 00. They head off of turn number 4. And I do believe, yeah, right there, I think Kendall might have come down into the nose of Russell Blaze. Either that or Blaze just kept hanging on the left rear quarter panel. And that number 3 car did get a little bit more damage than what I would have thought. But it definitely wasn't enough to slow him down. But that's where Ryan Kendall wound up getting the first batch of damage. And now let's now follow along with Val Mosco to see what happened to him. As Fitzgerald, I think this is the lap that the caution does come out for Val Mosco. Is we're going to follow along with him. There's Kenny Shremy in the 16. Way down on the inside, and Fitzgerald just gets into him and then slides up in front of the 1 of Moscow, and both of them go into the outside wall. And right here, oh, that's not good. Moscow just wound up hitting the end of the turn 4 wall, at least that little area, that area where you do enter the racetrack. That is what Val Mosco hit, and there's Nathan Stapleton. Unfortunately, just at the very last second before Mosco teleported to pit road, Stapleton just gets him on the left rear quarter panel. That's what wound up messing up Nathan Stapleton's night. And that is absolutely severely unfortunate for Nathan Stapleton, of how his night pretty much ended early, and he got put out of contention because of that hit that he gave to Val Mosco just as we took the caution flag. Now, let's take a look at what happened that caused the second yellow, and I would have to believe that it was a debris caution. I would definitely have to believe that it was a debris caution. And survey says, as we're going to go ahead and actually, it was a little bit earlier. And survey says here is we're going to go ahead and right about here is where the caution comes out. Right here. And from the looks of things, this might have been a debris caution. Because nobody went around. Nobody spun out. Nobody crashed. Nothing. So definitely a very interesting development that just transpired here at the Anderson Speedway. A caution for debris with 68 laps to go. That's what wound up setting the whole thing off. But regardless of that, those were the incidents that took place. Actually, I scratched that. There was one more that took place, and it's the incident that wound up retiring Ryan Kendall. So we're going to take a look at that. It's actually a good thing I remembered. So let's go ahead and show you what happened to the second incident that involved Ryan Kendall that wound up taking him out of the race. Looks like Sarah Taylor in the 29. Kind of a similar situation between Kendall and Russell Blaze, but this time the impact is to the inside wall, and there's where Sarah Taylor got the damage to her late model. And you also saw the air that she wound up getting in the process just as she made contact with the inside wall. Surprisingly, this didn't cause a caution flag. Both drivers were able to get their cars pointed back into the right direction. Sarah Taylor did wind up recovering from this, and she wound up getting a pretty decent finishing position. But as for Ryan Kendall, unfortunately, he did not get the ending that he would have wanted, and unfortunately, he wound up going behind the wall on lap number 21. But ladies and gentlemen, I think now this time we should be 100% good to go, and that's pretty much gonna do it from here at the Anderson Speedway. Want to thank you guys so much for watching tonight's festivities for our 4th race of the season here at the Anderson Speedway for the WRLA Hoosier Summer Tour. Don't forget, tomorrow night, we'll be continuing the fun here in the state of Indiana. Join us on Twitch tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for WRLA Menards Truck Series Racing at the Indianapolis Raceway Park. And then following that on Friday, we have WRLA Xfinity Series at the Brickyard. And then the NOS Energy Cup Series, our main event on Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, also at the Brickyard. And again, you'll be able to see your point standings very shortly after this stream does conclude. One more time, congratulations to Wyatt Walker on nabbing the victory here at the Anderson Speedway. The next time you'll see these Hoosier Summer Tour drivers will be next weekend at the Stafford Motor Speedway, the penultimate race of the WRLA Hoosier Summer Tour. This is definitely going to be pretty interesting as Wyatt Walker, again, nabs pretty much the most amount of points that he can get, and we'll definitely insert his name into the championship conversation as we head into Stafford for our second to last race of the inaugural season of the WRLA Hoosier Summer Tour. Have yourself a fantastic night, everybody. Take care, stay safe, and we'll see you all tomorrow night for Menards Truck Series Racing at Indianapolis Raceway Park. This WRLA telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or reused without any authorized written consent of 11 Broadcasting. WRLA would like to thank all of our loyal fans for their continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.